Welcome to Crimson Guitars, welcome to my home studio. I'm Ben Crowe and I am going to be doing some semi-hemispherical fret ends tonight. I've actually had an awesome day. I spent a large part of my morning playing with a £100,000 plus laser, a handheld laser for removing rust from things. And yes, it was 100% as cool and as fun as you are. It was awesome, but what was less so was the fact that I haven't been in my workshop all day, and I really want to get some more progress on this guitar. I'm currently working on finishing the baritone guitar that I built to raise funds for the Ukraine DEC Red Cross appeal, and we raised about £15,000, and that was fantastic. But I still haven't finished the instrument that was raffled off to raise the bulk of that money. Now, what I thought would be pretty awesome would be if I took the fretwork and upped the ante a little bit. Now, there's fretwork and there's fretwork, and then there's fretwork. In this case, most of my guitars at this point, I spend far longer on the fretwork than many people do, and the instrument plays incredibly well, he says somewhat big-headedly, but I've always known that there was an extra level beyond that. The first time I noticed that, it was looking at a particular Fender custom shop Strat. I can't remember which of the builders made it, but I saw the frets on that, and I think it was the first time I'd ever seen these semi-hemispherical fret ends. There's a little fly buzzing around my head, yeah? I must be shit. Excuse. Okay. And I saw that, and it stuck. I think it was a Coda Music, actually, in the UK. Really cool shop with lots of cool guitars. And then recently at the, and I've done it. I've attempted this kind of fretwork before, and got fairly close and been happy with the results. But at this most recent guitar show, there was a guitar builder. Her company's Turnstone Guitars. I should put my phone on silent. And there was one guitar that she had there that utterly blew me away. And I was actually bringing people up to say, hey, come and check out this guitar. It's the best guitar in the building. And her fretwork made me reconsider everything that I do. Now, I can level a guitar in 20 minutes and roughly crown the frets and have something that most players would say is fine. I can do the same job and spend 2 hours, and most players will go, wow, I don't know what you've done, but it's awesome. This time I'm spending probably 3 or 4 times that, hence a midweek off-schedule live stream to do this. And most players they'll realize that it feels incredible and feel bereft that every other guitar they have won't feel like this for the rest of their life. Woohoo. But in the end, it's worth it. Okay, now this is a live stream. I've got the chat going through. I've got the computer right here. Same rules as ever. Super chats 100% will be answered. General questions as they come through, if I see them, I will answer any questions. I've already got the footage pretty much for the video that is going to be going live on this process on the main channel next week. And so really I'm happy just chatting away as I do this. I just wanted you along to join me as we go. I have leveled the frets already. I have crowned them already. These are Evo Gold hypoallergenic frets. They're a little bit harder. They're a lot harder than nickel silver, and I think comparable to stainless steel, to be honest, in general. If they aren't exactly as hard, they are certainly more brittle. And I feel that if you are worried about tone or think that stainless steel has an effect on tone, which some musicians swear is the truth, and who should we listen to about sound and tone other than musicians. Yeah, this will sound a little bit like stainless steel. At this stage, all I am doing is manually rounding the fret ends over, creating a semi-hemisphere, or as close as I can get that, on the fret ends. And then I'm pre-polishing each fret as I go. Now with fretwork, I have generally tried to do the entire job in one go, i.e. I will crown all of the frets, I will do all of the fret ends, I will then do all of the polishing, and it's that polishing bit that's just an absolute, you can enter into a sort of zen-like state, but in general it's not fun. In this case though, going through most of the process on each fret up until the sort of medium fret rubber I'm actually finding it rather interesting. So anyway, unscheduled stream. We've got 91 people currently watching and only 23 likes, probably because I've been talking for the first 6.5 minutes. This is me, after all. Yeah, that's all working. And I'm going to... Oh, sorry about this necklace. That's rubbing on the microphone. Thanks, Rab. Yeah, we've got a bunch of people in here. Rab, Knox, George Davis, Dave, Fukami, Creverai is in. Sweet Tea Guitars, how you doing? Excuse me, I still have a bit of a cough. Kevin R. Harvey, JS Trucking and Guitars, Jeff's Guitars, Dan Oddie, Mr. Waffles, John Hutton, Black Wraith, a bunch of YouTube members. Excuse me, I'm going to try and avoid coughing as much as I can tonight. And there we go. Fukami says, wait, no, if you were just here, if we are just here, are we Ben's Entertainment? YouTubeception. Haha, there we go. I think we're here to entertain each other, and hopefully we'll all learn a bit as the process goes. So Shaolin Funk 1981 in the house. Yeah, it's all good. Ian M's doing well. He's carving a neck. And here we go. Ooh, super chat. Sweet Tea Guitars come in and said, so how low is too low on frets? Ooh, very good question. I've seen an SG that had frets so low, they were practically absent. They were practically absent with flat frets, flat tops. It played but would not intonate. Essentially, the reason why that would not intonate is because the string was intonating off the back end or the bridge side of each fret. All you need to do is move the bridge 1.5 millimeters further that way than you would normally have, and then also move the nut the same distance, and essentially the instrument would be intonating for the most part off the back end of the frets. So you can do that. It's the same sort of principle as with the Bond guitar, which had the sort of shark's tooth kind of fretboard. But yeah, it is what it is. So I've been ill. I've had flu, and I had COVID 3 weeks ago, and my lungs are absolutely shot. And when I scheduled this live stream, I thought, woohoo! I haven't coughed all day. The second I start talking, it becomes an issue. Okay, tools. I've got the current Crimson. Where are we? There we are. I've got the current Crimson fret end, or fine fret end finishing file. You've got a flat edge on one side, you've got a rounded safe edge on the other, and these safe edges are safe enough for the fretboard. And yeah, that's all good. I've also got an older version, a larger one that we used to do, that's coarser, and yeah, it is what it is. I'm not actually going to be using that today, but that is what we used to use a lot. Now, well, here we go. I'm just going to do some work, and we'll see how this goes. Microphone's going, we're recording, you're here. I will check out the chat and see what's happening. Keith KC and TCQ says, I'm just here for the free pizza and beer. Where's mine? I'm up for that. Right, so what I'm doing, we've put the bevel on the frets, and the line on the end of the frets, that's where I want my hemisphere to go to. flat side of the file on the fretboard, and I create the round. Now, I don't generally feel like swapping the guitar over and around and changing things, so I'm doing it like this, but generally that'll do. Now, if you've got a little bit that's not been hit, you can clean that off like that. And that's with the flat side created the round, and then you go with this and round that over. JS Trucking and Guitar says, I'll be officially starting my GGBO build this weekend. I'm taking some time off from driving to start building. I thought that you were going to be doing the bulk of your build in the truck. Although I don't blame you from I don't blame you from not doing the entire thing in there. There's always, I don't know, a workshop is what it is. And what it is a pure and absolute joy most of the time. Except when, as is currently the case with mine, it's an absolute tip. Okay. Now, the really interesting thing is, it's much easier to do this before the frets go in. So you can, if you, it's much easier to get a perfect round and to buff the ends up, etc. if you are absolutely sure of the width of each fret and you're absolutely sure that they're going to go in perfectly. It's not that easy to achieve IRL, I think. Now, the other thing is, I personally prefer to work from the inside of the fretboard out. I have seen a lot of makers who use these files like this, and I do think that it has its place, but it just feels a little bit alien to me. So there we go. JS Trucking and Guitars has come in with another super chat and says, I am doing the build from the truck, just haven't had time to build with the driving schedule. Okay, there we go. So you've literally not had enough time stopped to do any guitar building at all. That is, well, that's how I feel about my day-to-day. There have been other things that I had to do that have taken over. Okay, now at this stage, I crowned the fret using the fret board protector, which lifted everything up and means that I've got a flat edge next to the fretboard where the safe edge of the crowning file and the fret protector met, and it's just not round, it's a flat-sided pyramid essentially. Now, I'm going to start the rounding over process using the fret end finishing file, and this is also removing most of the scratches from the slightly coarser fret crowning file. And in my opinion, a lot, aside from the shape of the fret ends themselves and how comfortable they are, a lot of the difference between a sublime fret job, a sublime fret level crown and polish, and a mediocre one is how well you have dealt with the polishing of the sides of the fret. And do not get me wrong, I absolutely agree and believe and understand that and it's an absolute nightmare of a job. I hate doing it. a large part of what I do at Crimson and the custom tools that we make at Crimson Guitars is to do with trying to improve things, and I do have some ideas for this. But yeah, this is one of the best ones, is actually using a finer file with the safe edges already on there as a second pass. It's the same principle as using different grade sandpapers and going through the grades. And it's a basic principle that we all know and understand. It's just we don't tend to use it on frets. Alrighty, Sweet Tea Guitars come in with a $20 super chat. Thank you very much, dude. It says, here's a here's a 24. Well, because I had an extra 20, because I feel like most would pay for this lesson, including me. Thank you very much. It is very, very much appreciated. Okay, now what I was doing with this small file, I did not touch the top of the fret at all. That is as it was after I put a leveling beam over it. So yeah, nothing has changed. Except for the fact that I have now taken the entire fret to a finer grit. At this stage, back with the fretboard protector and onto some, this is 600 grit wet and dry that I'm currently using. And what I want to do is hold the fretboard protector in place and just go for it. Now, for the most part, this is also just missing. This is just missing the bottom of the fret because of the fretboard protector. But what I've come to realize is that for years I have been protecting the fretboard unnecessarily. Okay, I'm also going along the length of the fret. This is because as you bend the fret, that's the direction you're going to take. If I sanded along the fretboard, you would feel the results of that as you played. Okay, so now I've done that. I've done the bulk of the fretboard was protected, and we're good. Now I'm going to go in. Remember, this is 600 grit, wet and dry. This is finer than the 240 grit or 320 grit paper that was the final finish of my fretboard when I initially made it. So I'm going along, absolutely polishing the whole fret, and now it's a case of going through the fret ends. If we had the fretboard masked off, I wouldn't be hitting the bottom of the fret. If we had the fretboard masked off, I wouldn't be able to get to the ends or to the entire end of the fret. Again, it would all be hidden away. And on rosewood and ebony fretboards, on Ziricote fretboards, on walnut, black walnut, all of this sort of stuff, it's not necessary to protect it as much as you think. Fight me in the comments. Okay, so at this stage, I need to come back and have a look at the shape. And I'm being a lot more careful than your average luthier would. It's not quite round. And I can see that now that it's semi-polished. So I'm just going to change the shape a little bit. The other side also isn't actually quite even. Now, I rounded over the edge of the fretboard as well. And this is finishing that process. I did not bring the fretboard, I did not bring the top of the frets in much further, if at all. Okay. So there we go. And then here we go on to the medium. Is that focusing? Is it not focused? I don't know. Medium fret rubber. And I'm using it on the fretboard. Now, fresh fret rubber, it's got nice corners. Or you can cut a section off that gets right up next to the fret. And I'm rounding it over, polishing both the fretboard and the fret. And because I've never had, after the leveling beam, I've not had any scratches or any coarse scratches going along the edge of the fretboard. I'm achieving my final finish much quicker and much easier than if I'd been going up like that. Uriel Sage, good point. Not a fan of sanding perpendicular to the grain. The scratch marks drive me crazy, even if just using steel wool. That is the reason why I've always been so worried about doing what I am currently doing. The end result is, however, that the second a player uses this guitar, you're going to have perpendicular scratch marks in. And if I go through the fine and the super fine fret rubbers, which I'm gonna, then I'm gonna end up with a fretboard that is more polished, and it won't have any scratch marks. You won't see it, and yeah, it's absolutely not. It's not actually something to worry about. But I agree, it's one of those things. So I've just done fret number 4. Where are we? 23 minutes in. let's time how long it takes me to do the next one, shall we? Let's just see if there's any questions. Crumpet says, hi Ben, it's been a while since I've managed to catch a stream. Hope you're doing well. Mostly, I'm a little bit under the weather, but it is what it is. If I cough in your ear, I apologise. Goth Rider Creations, talking about shops and hose and crashing out. I think that was supposed to be home. Dave says, I need an entry-level fret leveling, crowning and polishing kit. Dave, drop us an email. The essential fret leveling and dressing toolkit is pretty much what you need. But yeah, drop us an email through office@greatguitarbuilders.com and yeah, give us a shout. Uriel Sage says, fortunately I've developed my method to the point that I don't severely scratch the sides of my frets, so it's a much easier job to remove any that may accumulate on the sides. That's a very good point. And this is it. The beautiful thing about this task is every single luthier does it differently, and the results end up being, we basically ending up at the same sort of place, which is really cool. So yeah, let's have a look. Okay, so I'm going to have to, that's the one we're after. Manual focus, yo. What am I doing? So there you go. You can see what I've ended up doing. Okay, questions. Lisa Harshberger's in the house. How you doing, Lisa? Rich Ether got the call today about sending Bob a fret out to him. Yes, I sincerely apologise. I thought that had been sent out to you weeks and weeks ago. And every time I turn around, it was still there. But yeah, you will get her imminently. Yeah, let me know what you think. Okay. Where are we? We're at minute 26 now. So that was nearly a minute and a half to get that one side done. I think with practice, I can get that down to under a minute. All right, I'm happy with those fret ends. I'm now rounding over the fret itself. At this stage, you can also use this file to finesse the top of the fret if you want, i.e. make the whole thing just a little bit thinner. And by the way, I can't actually see the lateral scratch marks where the fret rubber has been in the interstitial bit. And this is where the whole thing becomes homogeneous. The top. I'm removing microns of material, maybe. Okay. Yes, wire wool would probably do quite well. The wire wool is pretty much banned from my workshop for 3 reasons. 1, I don't like it. Personal animosity. 2, it's actually a bit of a fire risk, that stuff. If you hit a spark, it can do some serious smouldering and has caused workshop fires in the past, so look after that. And 3, it's just the having lots of wire wool dust about the place. Even if you're protecting the pickups on the guitar you're working on, we've generally all got multiple guitars with multiple pickups in the building, and yeah, we want to not have that stuff in the air, not least in our lungs. So there's a little ledge there that just needs to come down. Okay, so there, and now, and this is only the medium fret rubber. On these particular frets, after hitting them with 600 grit, I've seen duller frets on some really high-end guitars in the past, fresh out of the factory. But as it stands, of course, we will be going up later and buffing the hell out of them, probably, well, no, definitely, because I'm going for the best fret job I've ever done, or I'm trying for, at least, with a bench grinder and polishing mop. All right, so there we go. That was 26, 32, that was 6 minutes. Well, it was just under 6 minutes. It was like 20 seconds under 6 minutes for a fret. And I'm really happy. I'm really happy with how these are turning out. Super comfortable, super flat, and yeah, all good. We had a couple more super chats through. JS Trucking and Guitars came in and said, shouldn't you be rounding the fret before the fret end? That way rounding the fret doesn't cut a flat into the side of the fret end you just finished. Technically, yes. I think if we were doing a giant pyramid sized or a building size kind of a thing, yeah, you would see that. I am removing maybe a micron or 2 off. I'm taking a very tiny part of the edge off, but actually I think you're right, and I'm going to try that. And then next up was David Loveland, who came in with a fiver. Thank you very much, David, and says, hey Ben, we'll be in the UK in a couple of weeks, trying to talk the wife into a trip down to Crimson. If you do manage to do so, then please get in touch with Crimson and ask them for days that I will actually be there. I would happily give you a tour. Just let us know if it's not going to be a day that I would normally be there. I'll actually even try and come in and just give you a personal tour if you fancy it, if that makes any difference. But yeah, I'm generally there. I'm trying to be there on Wednesdays and Fridays every week as general, and then other times just randomly. But yeah, we shall see. Okay. My phone went. Do 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 do. Okay, I can go there. Now, I think it's just a case of cracking on. So let's see. Guitar Addicts Workshop says, anyone else still thinking of doing GGBO but haven't worked up the courage to join up? Yeah, me. We'll see. It's crazy. I really do need to crack on with my GGBO now. Okay, well I'm gonna move on to camera 2 and I'm gonna crack on with another fret. Now, based on, was it Rab that suggested this? Hold on. Where are we? Viewer activity. JS Trucking, I thought so. Yeah. I think you're absolutely correct. So I'm doing this. Sweet Tea with another 20 bucks. Dude, Sweet Tea has just donated another, or sent another $20 via Super Chat and says, I guess I'm in a giving mood. You're always in a giving mood. And I'm about to be off of work, so I can go home and do what I love. Plus, I know these chats help the cause. They really do. Peace and love. Thank you very much, Todd. I do appreciate it very much. And yeah, you confused me there. I thought you said you were off to work, not off of work, and then back into the workshop, which is the real thing you want to do. I absolutely get you, man. All right. Okay, so I've done the edges of the of this fret now, and it's on to that. Daniel Marquez says to Guitar Edits Workshop, there's always the community category. He's having fun in his. And I absolutely agree. If you're not into it for the competition, just doing it for the fun of the build with no stakes basically is an awesome way to go. And I'm really glad you guys convinced me to do that. Really glad. I do wish I had more time to put into making GGBO as awesome as it could be. Really do. Okay. I do see how doing it from the outside can be useful. If any of you have any other ideas of how to do this, then yeah, please let me know. Other than do it before the frets go in, because yeah, I'm aware that that is a potentially easier way. Big Unit, hey man. How you doing? It says, hey Ben, sorry I missed the Monday live stream. We had a massive outbreak of severe weather. I saw something about that. Tornado warnings and high winds Sunday and Monday. No worries, man. I hope you and yours are all right. And yeah, nothing bad transpired. But yeah, I mean, I missed you, and this is why entirely, and the only reason why I'm doing a live stream tonight, just in the hopes that I could, yeah, see you again. Shaolin Funk 1981 says, did Ben manage to get the fridge delivery sorted out the other day? I had to duck out beforehand, and I need that closure. 100%. I was worried that it was just going to be one guy delivering this fridge, and that I would end up losing 20 minutes to it. But they were like an old married couple, and they did it. They brought it up. I'm in a sort of mid-terrace house, so there's a passageway in between two houses that's fairly narrow. I had to take the door off so that I could get it through. But other than taking the door off, I was back in literally 2 minutes. And they did their thing, delivered it where we needed it. And yeah, it was good. So, yeah. Alrighty. On to the sanding now. I sometimes feel that you guys know a hell of a lot more about my life and my personal life than is healthy, really. But what can you do? Now, as I use this little bit of sandpaper, it's actually getting finer and finer, and I'll be changing it out in a bit. Creever Ice says, big unit. I think that's a valid reason to miss a stream. I hope you're doing well. I absolutely agree. I am planning on doing more random streams like this one. There's 137 people currently watching, 77 likes. Yeah, it's just... I do enjoy the process. I really... Personally, I prefer the process when I can shut up and just concentrate for a little bit. And I know you guys are sitting in the chat doing something, but I don't have another person in the room who I need to interact with while I'm also trying to think about the guitar building, etc. And just being able to do this and look up and answer the odd question every now and then, if I want to. But if I feel the need to actually concentrate for a bit, I can. So yeah, I like this. Not to say I'm not going to get Tanya down to run the computer every now and then. I do enjoy that, and on the Monday builds, we will have that. If they stay, I think they're going to have to stay on Mondays. Mondays makes sense. But yeah, other times there'll be more going on. Fuka Me's coming with a €5 super chat. It says, Ben, don't forget the bridge ground wire and the head tattoo plushies. Okay. The head tattoo plushies I really want to do. I will not forget the bridge ground wire. The hole has been drilled. We did that very early on in this one because of you guys. The head tattoo thing, I can't believe it's taken this long, but this logo here, it's the triple moon. It's the symbol of the triple goddess, the mother, the maiden, and the crone. We've just made that into a t-shirt, and I can't believe it's taken that long to do. There are caps, there are sort of beanies or whatever they're called, but there's a t-shirt, and it's actually my favorite t-shirt, so that should be available on the website, and if it isn't, let me know actually. Yeah, a head tattoo plushie would be awesome. I have very mixed feelings about I'm very confident in what I do. I'm very confident in what I teach and how I do things and craftsmanship and all that sort of stuff. I'm a lot less confident in the more influencer slash slightly celebrity-ish. It's nowhere near celebrity, but you know what I mean. That, I don't know another way of saying that. But that, you know, the whole people wanting a bobblehead of me in their workshop, it still strikes me as intensely strange. But in a good way. It's not a negative feeling necessarily, but it's definitely weird, or it definitely feels weird. Anyway, watch the live streams for the bearing of the soul. The big units come in with $5, sorry. Thank you very much. And it says, I did get my electrical sub panel and circuits installed on Saturday, so now my workshop has power, ready to build as soon as I get a day off. I honestly thought that you were about to follow that up by saying I got it all installed and then there was a massive electrical storm and it blew everything out. That would be the sort of thing that happens to me. Anyway, congratulations, big unit. I am very happy for you. So a little bit. Once you hit the shine, you sort of see slight variations in the shape. Fukumi says it would be lovely to squish my Ben plushie when I again use a plane to shave the skin off my hands. What? Oh, Benjamin, this is all your fault. That makes me happy. Just ritualistically stick me full of pins every time you buy a new vintage tool or something. Yeah, I like that. I actually really like that. Cool. Well, this is progressing nicely. I'm really happy. It's also obvious exactly which frets I've worked on, which is good. Just that edge just needs a little bit. Paul Needs, hey Paul, says he can't see the t-shirt on the website. Okay, we're all... Where are we? Ah, there it is. Sorry, just photographing that, so yeah, take notes. Just for interest's sake, let's change camera 3. Where are we up to? There you go, that'll do. It's camera 3. I'm still taking photos, hold on. All right. Daniel Coyle says, do the triple moon as a swimming cap for those unsure about committing, like a film makeup bald cap. I have really considered doing that in the past. Funnily enough, custom swim caps or your own branded swim caps are not something that these print your own merchandise stores tend to offer you. I'm not quite sure why. Orgonian Evolution says, Ben, you really need to stop smoking them cigars after breakfast, mate. That cough is bad. Yeah, it's not nice. I haven't coughed like this since I quit smoking. Jasmine was born in October 2008, so so I quit smoking February or March 2008. I found out that we were pregnant and she's our first. I tried to quit hundreds of times, as you know, anybody who has that particular affliction has, and found out we were pregnant. I went outside to have one last cigarette and actually threw it away halfway through, and that was the last one. Although I've had some I'm craving one now. I've had some very, very vivid dreams about starting smoking again, and generally it actually feels like I have fallen off the wagon. Like it genuinely feels like I've fallen off the wagon due to these vivid dreams. And recurring ones, and when I'm having a particularly stressful period of my life, I apparently smoke in my sleep, or in my dreams at least. It's horrific, terrible habit. Anyway, okay. Bonehead Guitars, hey man, he says, I had no idea this was happening, I just stumbled into it. You got to shave, man. I love autocorrect. Yes, I had no idea this was happening until a few hours ago, and yeah, this is where I just fancy doing it. So I just need to keep you guys on your toes, really. I'm planning on doing more. Woo, don't like doing that. I'm planning on doing more live streams. Not every week, but every now and then I will do just a random few hours, in addition to the standard Sunday evening Q&A session, just because, well, we've got the channel set up, I've got the stuff, I've got this set up, and it's all good to go. So why not? If I'm doing a relatively tedious job like this, where I can actually do 100 of something while also talking and, you know, being capable of talking, why shouldn't I do that? Now, out of interest, I mentioned right at the beginning of this. I mentioned right at the beginning of this video that this stream, that I spent most of my morning playing with one of those cool lasers that cleans rust and other things off tools. It cleans welds. I think we've all seen, I suspect, we've all seen videos of these. Yeah, we're interested in ways of increasing the vintage tool shop and improving the vintage tool shop reach, social media wise, but also the speed of restoration and all that. And that's really gone downhill since January when Crimson bought it, because, well, everything went downhill. We needed to sort out a million things to do with the move and all that, and we haven't been doing very much restoring or restoration, or we've got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of tools. So I thought, laser, let's do that. But the question is, you guys, who tend to be the most engaged in the channel and what we're doing, what would you think about us doing a side channel just with tool restoration, where we do utilize lasers or tumblers or all of that sort of stuff? Another option is I just do it on the main channel. I'm trying not to cough again, and go from there. But yeah, is that something that you'd be interested in seeing? It doesn't need to necessarily be something that I'm actually physically doing. It wouldn't be the talking, it would be music and just the process of the restoration for 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. What do you think? People saying cigars, good cigars don't make you cough. I didn't know that, but either way. Big Unit's come in with a $20 super chat. Thanks very much, man. It says, just bought a router, so beginner question. When routing with a template, do you use a template bushing or a bearing bit? Okay, if it's a bearing bit, how do you plunge route and keep the bearing riding on the template? Okay, I tend to use bearing bits because the template is the exact same size as the material that you're routing. And as you're plunging, basically your first cut, the bearing is on the template, but because the template is the exact same size as what you want, what you're routing, the bearing then runs on the level that you've just routed away. And so you're stepping it down, then moving the bearing down onto the freshly cut material, and then stepping it down onto the freshly cut material, etc. And yeah, that's how I do it. Jamie Krautkramer says, a spin-off channel of a spin-off channel. I love it. George Davis, that'd be cool. E&M, I'd be jealous. Why? Because I hate Rust, and yet you never win. And yet never win. Rabnox doesn't have enough hours in the day to watch them all. So there we go. Bonehead says, no choice, no nicotine ever again. That's a very good point. Anthony Cunliffe says, I knew you were an ex-smoker. Well done for not smoking for so long. Dreams don't count. If they do, my stories at parties would be made significantly more interesting. If I ever went to parties. Don't do yourself down. I feel exactly the same way. But yes. Beth, hey Beth. Beth says, Ben, I've always loved your triple moon tattoo, a design I'm particularly fond of, being a very low-level follower of witchcraft. I just think that without... Let me be very careful, because this is a serious thing to say. I don't believe in God, the traditional, I shall smite thee, and eye for an eye, and all of that stuff. I grew up in a very prescriptive, very, very religious household, and it did not stick. But I do believe in a certain spirituality about humanity and people, and I don't have a need to externalize my problems. I don't have a need to, to pray to somebody else to fix my mistakes or my situation, which is, I think, a lot of the reason why the multitudes need a religion. But I always thought that the triple moon goddess was the closest thing to a symbol for how I feel about spirituality, and it's a mixture of the mothers and grandmothers and maidens and all of that the world wouldn't exist without that. It would stop turning, and it's also a spirituality. So it's sort of, in my mind, a mixture between humanity and gods. Anyway, it's difficult to talk about. It's difficult to find the right words. That's what I'm saying. I'm struggling to find the words to say. I can't find the words. Woohoo! But that's very cool. Okay, hold on. We've got another... JS Trucking Guitar says, how do you spell shop in the vintage tool shop? I saw an antique store here in the States called the Vintage Tool Shop with 2 P's and E at the end. Yeah, that's not us. We just shop. Yeah. Oh, what am I doing? Hold on. That was close. I nearly ended the stream. That's a 2-part thing. Anyway, look, I need to finish this fret end. Paul Cook says, if there's an all-seeing, omnipotent human being, he's definitely not got his eye on the ball right now. I kind of agree with that. Now, funnily enough, I'm listening to Danny Trejo autobiography, and he is very religious in the sort of Christianity kind of thing, which surprised me. But I'm not anti that. I just don't believe in it because, well, because of what Paul's saying there, as much as anything else. If you had an omnipotent, all-caring God, then we wouldn't have what we've got. Basically, he's either omnipotent and cares about us, in which case what's happening here wouldn't be, or he's doesn't have any power and doesn't give a shit about us and is as an arsehole, essentially. But anyway, this is dangerous talk. Don't talk about politics or religion on a YouTube channel. Come on. Mo McCo says, I believe in Ben. Thou shalt collect all the tools. I like it. Here's the poll. Creever says, we need a poll. Will Ben finish the fretwork or will there be 3 more videos? That's a good point. The only problem with doing this is the sheer amount of talking actually does slow everything down. Which isn't ideal. Beth, you 100% should get the triple moon tattoo. I don't know why, but that would make me very happy. Big unit, which router did you get? Bonehead guitars, thou shalt always dry run glue ups. Damn straight. I do have sort of a few rules that are sort of rule number 1, etc, etc, etc. What am I thinking? Number one is don't be an arsehole. And I think that humanity's problems in general would be solved if everybody followed that. Borgonian Evolution says, stick with your own philosophies and don't force them on others. Mine is very simple. I fart, therefore I stink. A religion is just like... No, there's probably children watching. Let's not do it. Everybody is entitled to believe what they want to believe. It's the people who try and force it down your throat that really achieve the exact opposite 99% of the time. I wish they understood that. But anyway. Barry Christian says he's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy. That's funny. I do love... I didn't get... Monty Python. I did not understand Monty Python at all when I first moved to the UK at 17 years old. But I started dating a very hot girl. And she and her family ate, lived, breathed Monty Python. And every single meal was wall-to-wall Monty Python quotes. And it wasn't long before I became a huge fan. And, thus became the Anglicization, whatever, what's the correct word, of Ben Crowe. Woohoo. Thou shalt adjust the cameras before filming, thou shalt check the batteries for the microphone, thou shalt ensure the stream is live before talking, thou shalt rock the stream, teach and have fun. I like it, I like that last one. And yes, so with the live stream, you guys see the still screen come up. I make that live and then watch on here to check that it's actually going live on the right channel, etc. before I start. I have made this mistake several times before and it hasn't gone live. And yeah, problems. It's much easier now that I'm only doing streams on one channel, it must be said. Mr. Waffles says, thou shalt not commit epoxy. Thou art shall run hands along newly sanded neck. It's nearly a religious experience when it's over 400 grit. I agree. Okay. Ravencroft, how you doing? Watching from work. He hopes everybody's well. Kevin Harvey preferred the goodies. I've never got in. I don't think I've ever watched the goodies actually. For what that's worth. Here's the problem here. Okay. Lisa. Lisa, I agree with you. Lisa believes in God, but she also believes in free will, which means she loves us all. And if we want to know what I believe, great, I'll tell you. If not, that's okay too. Let's talk about sawdust. I absolutely, that's it. Some of the nicest people I've met in the world are religious, and unfortunately, some of the worst, literally. In fact, uncontrovertibly, but just because those guys were terrible, doesn't mean everybody needs to be branded with the same. Let us officially start talking about sawdust, or Evo gold dust, because these frets are that. Paul Needs says, I shall be committing epoxy soon, I hope. Funnily enough, we actually, I got sent a photo today of a guitar top that we have just made. Let me see if I can find this quickly for you. Oh, come on. There we go. So that's epoxy resin on the outside with, I think, California Buckeye Burl in the middle, and that's a top that's a guitar top that we've just made. So we're starting to do more of that sort of stuff at Crimson moving forward. And for that matter, we're also, even right now, literally right now, Paul, would you mind checking and seeing if there's a whole bunch of really nice guitar wood on the website? Quilted maple, some nice sapele, and various other bits and pieces could potentially be live. I'm not sure if they had enough time, but the goal was to put it out, make it live today. Okay, so I'm polishing the edges of the fret here with the fret end finishing file and doing the rounding over. And so far, this is my favorite method because it doesn't involve inventing a new tool for you to buy. I do have some new tools for you to buy, but this is the way. Bonehead Guitar says he will be committing some Z-epoxy soon. That's cool. Cillian Hurahan, I agree with you. It's essentially the same as mine, don't be an arsehole. Rule number one. Rule number one for the bulk of my life was don't get between a pregnant lady and a toilet, which has stood me in good stead. Rule number two is always be nice to people who have anything to do with your food before it gets into your mouth. And generally anybody helping you or working in some way for you. But in the end, the rule, don't be an arsehole, is just taken over because it covers all of those things, really. Generally, if you help people, you're basically helping yourself, in my opinion. Do you know what? It's actually rather difficult to do this while reading comments, I must say. Okay, I'm gonna move some cameras about. Testing. We've got audio. How did we get to talking about recycling plastic? Oh, probably epoxy. Or yeah, okay. I don't like single-use plastics. I'm coming to terms with plastics that are going to be put into something that will be used long-term, like a guitar that most people expect to live for years and years, and years and years, and then some more years. I am, and have been for a long time, not a fan of this whole resin thing. Mainly because I can see the furniture side of stuff being very short term, very throwaway. That being said, I've just made myself a bog oak and gold leaf and resin river table as the office table for Crimson. So, yeah, what can I say? I think Creever's just sent me a message. Okay, I need to move camera 2. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Alright, so at the moment there's not that many listings on the website. Because those ones are sold out. There's some. Okay. Yep, no, it looks like that they didn't make it on the website. It's coming soon though. We're going to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tops and fretboards and all sorts of stuff. We're going into it in a big way. Which excites me. Because we all love good Luthiery wood. I said that very carefully. Ravencroft Guitar says, I'll be busting out a brand new buffer tonight to help polish up my guitar. Any advice for buffing before I dive in, Ben? It's the same as when you are sanding. You go through the grits carefully. And in fact, I've killed this 600 grit paper, so here's a new piece. Yeah, go through the grits, go through the grades. Cheap polishing compound often has much coarser grits in it because it hasn't been screened properly and carefully. I use Menzerner polishing compound. It's a it's relatively more, it's more expensive relatively when you get started, but it is also something that will last the average guitar builder forever. Another one is that with polishing compounds, oftentimes if you find a local workshop that polishes cars and buffs cars up like that, or a factory where they use polishing compounds, they'll often throw away the sort of last inch or two of the polishing compound because it's just awkward and not as safe to use. You oftentimes will be able to get free, really high grade polishing materials from the scrap bins at these places, and that's worth looking at. Beth says, Ben, to help the cough, rub Vicks or some other similar ointment on your feet at night. It will help settle the cough. That's something that I know works, but have never once, not ever actually remembered at the correct time. My my favourite cure for a cough is hot toddy, whiskey and lemon and stuff. I almost don't even care if it works. It's just, you know, a really nice drink. I probably do have some Vicks. There we go. Second note says, I've gone through nearly a bottle of restorative already since the show. That's insane. Crikey. Yeah, Paul's also... Oh no, that's... Yeah, okay. Lisa says, I'm printing out base plates for an organizational system for my 3D printing tools as well as for woodshop tools. Yeah, I need an organization system. Ricky and I were just... So Ricky works at Crimson and he was brought on as a general PA for Sam, Tom and myself. He was overqualified, desperately wanted the job because, hey, it's a cool job. And within a couple of weeks we realised that what we wanted, and he was just too good for what we wanted, and he created a whole new role for himself, and we then couldn't afford a PA. But yeah, we desperately need somebody who is really organised. We need an office manager. It's one of the issues with Crimson, to be honest, at the moment. Anthony Cunliffe says, Ben, in Futurama, Fry swapped hands with the robot devil. I did not watch that one. Whose hands would you swap with to take their skills? Oof. That's a... I mean, this would imply that I lose my current skills, so I wouldn't. I just wouldn't, absolutely not. If I got to keep my current set of skills and also borrow, not steal, not remove from the other person, I would swap hands with John Mayer. I would swap hands with John Mayer. Yeah. I mean, there are guitar builders out there, but in reality, I'm not far away from being able to learn if I try, if I concentrate, if I don't, you know, talk to people while I'm doing it. Most of those skills. So it really would be, I would choose another skill that I wanted to learn and add on top, and actually being able to actually play properly. That would be awesome. I need to change camera 2. Camera 2 is currently wrong. This guitar looks gorgeous. Look at this. Isn't that just delicious? It's also actually quite a nice day outside. It's the sunset and all that's coming out. Oh, let's drop that. So where are we? It's 9:20. Yeah, progress is being made. Second note says, I've got to shoot, wishing you all a great long weekend. It's hard times out there and positive communities make it 1,000 times easier. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Lisa says, what was the name of that puppet program where the young one got skills of others? That I do not know. Jamie says he would have, Jamie Crowe says, I would have traded hands with John Mayer when he was dating Jennifer Aniston. Just saying, haha. I don't read through the comments before I read them out. I think I probably should sometimes. Haha. But yeah. Chevalier says, if you have to choose between the lesser of two evils, choose the one you haven't done before. I like it. Okay. Oftentimes I find I change my method and become sort of quite ambidextrous, and it's not because I want to necessarily, but it's because I'm filming and the camera's in a particular place and I can't be bothered to turn the guitar around. Anything that promotes new skills and learning, I suppose. Yeah, that does require some concentration. It really does. Okay. Yeah. Much like when I'm using a normal file, holding with two hands, one at either end, helps. My question is to you guys, am I putting you off trying to do this or not? It's not strictly necessary. Certainly. Haha, very comfortable. Oops. Uncle Duncan's Shack, how you doing? Says training the left hand to be more useful is not a bad thing. A great exercise is to use the left hand to work the mouse when using the computer. Whoa, I think that would drive me insane. But yes, I absolutely see your point. Paul Needs says, I'm not fond of these rounded fret ends. I prefer a nice angled slope into nothing. I think, this is very important, I think rounded fret ends without a rounded over edge of the fretboard would be very uncomfortable. Rounded fret ends set a little bit back from the edge of the fretboard with the edge of the fretboard rounded over. Sublime, in my opinion. George Davis says, many things that I would like to still complete in my life. Problem is life and time have run out on me, and the physical limitations that work have done to me just wore my body out. Dude, I'm really sorry, and I'm glad that in a small way you can live vicariously through me and the rest of us building guitars and creating things on the internet. I often think about what I would do if I became incapable of spending time in the workshop. And the reality is that I would spend as much time as possible watching other people create things, and if I'm in a financial situation, I would commission creative things from makers and creatives. Even if I couldn't physically be part of the creation, they would be there as a result of me. And yeah, it's a nightmare and an inevitability, I suppose. You know, at some point, I'm not going to be able to use my tools. And yeah. Where am I? Hand Tool Bills says, I often do rounded fret ends. It's more work, but it's also meditative. I generally do sort of a halfway between the two on most builds, but I think from now it's just that little extra that I can do to communicate with the final owner. It's the thing they experience, isn't it? Ravencroft Guitars says, I dislike fret work, but mostly because I'm not good at it. I'm sure once I have done it more, I will look at it differently. I am only now starting to feel like I'm good at fret work. Like properly, instinctively good at it. Up until recently, it's always been a chore, and I know what I need to achieve, but, you know, Lisa's shouting at Paul. Thank you, Paul, and you take care, Beth. Does sleep help? All caps. And then she says, oops, soz. Knox used to be quite ambidextrous, but he didn't use it and then lost it. That's a universal truism. Okay, we're almost there. Tiny, tiny little bit. So Ravencroft, you say you normally do this. What would you do that I'm not doing? What do you do differently? Teach me. Ape Song says, the 3-hat grog. Place a hat on the table, then make very hot and strong grog. Drink till you see 3 hats on the table, then sleep. You will awaken in fine form. All right. Question from Lisa. Says, actually like this, just thought while watching, aren't you altering the angle that you laboriously created? No, I'm only just touching the final angle on the edge, if at all. There were a couple where it sort of felt like it was a little bit off, so I made that a little bit steeper. But in general, I'm not touching at the edge of the bevel. That's where the circle begins. That's where the circle goes like that, and then on the angle, I'm just bringing it to a point and then polishing that over. So if I'm changing it, it's very minimally. All right, I thought I was at the 12th fret. I'm not. I'm 10 frets in. SE Guitars in the house, says, how's everybody doing? Looking forward to the bank holiday. Am I looking forward to the bank holiday? Yeah. Yeah, I am. Vulcan Essen answers my question and says, I feel encouraged to do more fretwork. It is also a relief to see how long it actually takes. The fast forward vids obviously miss that. I do try and get Talitha to sort of do at least 1 fret in real time, or at least part of the job in real time whenever she does speed things up. But yes, this takes a long time. This particular way I'm doing it is a long way around. It really is. Oh, Steve Tuttle Guitars has come in with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Steve. Says, Ben, glad to see you wearing a t-shirt with a Rick on it. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. I have finished my GGBO, Tuttenbacker, and working on the final videos. Thank you for all your help over the years. Thank you very much for your support, and I'm looking forward to watching your build. Yeah, that's actually my next thing. I need to figure out what's happening, because I want to do something on the main channel to promote GGBO and the builders and things. So, yeah, where am I going to find the time? I am going to be live streaming. I'm going to be live streaming my GGBO build. That's going to be on Mondays, I think. Steen TV says, what's this? Aren't you meant to be getting well to finish the bass? Yes, so I've finished Jasmine's guitar. and I'm incredibly happy with what I did on that. You'll see the final bits and pieces of that this weekend. Actually, didn't one of the videos go live today, come to think of it, on the main channel? And I am finishing this instrument because this is one that's already going live on the channel. So I am going to finish this, and we're going to finish this project, and that'll be two projects down within a week. And then I'm going to finish the base and start the hand tool build, or restart the hand tool build, shall I say. And at that point I'm going to start live streaming my GGBO build when I've finished multiple projects and we've got all sorts of stuff going. Now this horn's going to get in the way. I think I'm actually going to turn this guitar around, shall we say. Anthony Cunliffe says, I would love to see a crossover video on Crimson where Talitha builds a kit guitar and you edit the video. I reckon you've both learnt enough from each other over the years to attempt it. I spent a good 5 or 6 years editing almost every video. So yeah, I 100% could do the editing. I've, of course, not used it for a long time and have forgotten every single shortcut, etc. But yeah, I love to do that. And I don't think it even needs to be a kit guitar. I'm convinced that Talitha could build a guitar from scratch without even any instruction. She could just do it. Guaranteed. All right. I nearly pushed stop recording, which wasn't the button that I wanted to push. Okay. Yeah, that's all right. And let's go up. Okay, and 2. Paul Nix just rode my bike home through the woods in Finland. It's about 11:30 p.m. and still light out. I'm really glad to have had the live stream play while I was riding. Thanks. Blows my mind. That's such a cool image. Thank you for letting me know. That's awesome. It's 20 to 10 in the UK and it's just getting dark. Okay, that's pretty good. We're all there. The base is only a day's work away from being finished as well. Come to think of it. So you should be okay. It's all gonna come together. Let me just check and make sure the children are fine. Ha! Okay, so Ricky's just sent me a message saying they were taking photos and making listings when he left this evening. And he's going to be continuing with them tomorrow if that helps. So actually the wood thing, yeah, the wood on the website is apparently still going live for this weekend. The team there are incredible, and everybody seems to be working past time. Phil Richards, who's a member, says GGBO builds tend to be my background viewing during my workday. Some fantastic stuff. If I had a normal job, that would be the same, exactly the same for me. I'm absolutely sure of it. Well, this feels better. Actually some scratches in the wood there from the aluminium filing, which I should have taken out. Lisa's saying Jasmine's guitar electrical fix went up today. That's cool. So yeah, the electrical fix and the using a capo to take the neck off and all that. I really did enjoy that trick. That worked out rather well. Okay, sandpaper. Good night, Beth. Pilicus says, at Ben Crowe, I'm entering the GGBO in the peanut gallery section, non-contestant builds, and wanted to know if I send along what I've got so far, could I get an opinion on it? Yes, I technically would love to see what you've got, and so the best way to do it actually is to actually guarantee a response. I am diabolical with messages. There is just so much coming at me every which way. I just took 4 days to reply to somebody I really want to talk to. It's that bad. But yeah, if you send the email through through guild@crimsonguitars.com, that'll go to Talitha, and she will then send me the images, and then I'll look at it and tell her, and she'll reply to you. It sounds shit, but it's the quickest way. So I want to avoid sanding the fretboard, so sanding the inlay, so my fretboard protector there is over that, and We're getting the size of the frets and the fretboard itself, and all going to be good. Bonehead Guitar says there's 563 videos on the playlist so far. Bonehead, I really do appreciate what you're doing there. It's the best playlist of the competition, and yeah, so everybody needs to go over to Bonehead Guitar's channel and watch the GGBO using that playlist. Fret rubbers are a really good way to clean finger gunk off fretboards as well. If you've got something that's physical enough that it's not being moved by the fretboard cleaner, a little bit of a light abrasive is a really good thing. Bonehead says, no biggie, I was going to be looking anyway. Yeah, we do appreciate it, man. They almost look finished. This is only part way through the polishing process. Yeah. Cool. Now, I'm going to very gently do this. Yeah. If ever there was a time you needed a fretboard protector, it's now. Of course, that last thing I just cut across it and made a bloody mark. Typical. That'll do it. I really love that I get to do this and that you guys are here. Thank you very much. Okay, 2. We're almost halfway there. I am getting more confident in my movements. Vulcan Essen has come in with a much appreciated super chat. €5 says, "Hi Ben, on a fretboard like this, what would be the preferred method to eliminate a ding caused by slipping with the fret hanger? Cheers, V." Okay, steam. I would. That's a perfect place to use a soldering iron and a folded up wad of wet tissue, and you put the tissue over the offending mark, and then put the soldering iron on top of that. Be careful not to let the tissue dry out entirely, because that would that could then burn the fretboard and cause issues. But you're forcing steam out into the wood, and essentially what you've done is you've compressed the wood in the dent, and you want to fill that back up with moisture, and that moisture forced in as steam will, in most cases, make the dent disappear. There may have to be a little bit, excuse me, there may have to be a little bit of light sanding involved as well, but you're good. Jules has come in as well. Says, "Hey, all orders have arrived. Thanks for the piercing saw, no worries, and the chisel. Just making the handle on the chisel. Vintage tool shop rocks." I'm glad that everything's arrived at this point. We've had some issues with shipping to you. It's been emotional. Now, where are we? That camera. I got it. I know. And I'm also actually, pretty happy with what I've got here. Woohoo. With this fine file, I'm actually rubbing it backwards on my jeans every now and then to clear this off, just to clear it off. Okay. Fresh bit of 600 grit. Now I like doing this in this way. I'm creating a folded piece of sandpaper here that acts as a tool. I have in the past, and in fact at the beginning of this process yesterday when I was doing this on the first couple of frets, I was wrapping the sandpaper around a fret rubber, which actually also works really well. There are many, many, many ways to polish a fret. Norm Barrow says, I shampoo with a fret end beveling block, then use a fret end dressing file to round the bottoms, a 1/4 inch round file to round the sides, and a concave crowning file to round the tops. I don't like concave crowning files, but in this particular way of doing things, that is a very valid method. I don't quite understand the 1/4 inch round file to round the sides. Oh, I suppose. Huh. Interesting. I just sounded the wrong one, did you see? Okay, so I'm now gonna, I'm gonna mask off this fretboard just around here because I do want to polish this fret. Hey Todd, how you doing? Sweet Tea Guitars is back in the house. Norm Barrow says the go round 1/4 inch round gets the bit the others can't do. Well, I'll check that out. You can't beat a good file. Mr. Waffle says I'm still working. We'll have to watch later to pick up anything from it. Honestly, just wait for the, unless you particularly want to, there's going to be an edited version going live next week, Wednesday, I think. Not of this live stream necessarily, but yeah, of this process, there's going to be a video on Wednesday. I've actually got some bits on the top. This is the first time it's happened because I'm being careful with the inlay. There were a few scratches going that way from the leveling beam that I missed. Jules. Jules is coming with another super chat. Thanks very much, man. Says, why do I only get new stuff from China in Germany, and with you in England, the good old stuff? It's great to have the shop from you. Thank you very much. The Vintage Tool Shop is one of the loves of my life. I absolutely adore old tools, and I love finding them new homes with craftspeople who are also going to love and use them. There's, I had a guy come in to the shop today. 90 years old if he was a day. And he and his wife walked in. They, he's using a cane, nearly didn't get up the stairs. And he walked around the shop, and he then said, okay, yeah, you can sell my tools. Or you can buy my tools. And he's going to call us, and we're going to buy his old tools. And his tools that he hasn't been able to use anymore are going to be in the hands of other craftspeople and other makers, many of them in relatively short order. And that makes me happy. It does indeed. There we go. Sorry, I shouldn't be doing that on video. I'm thinking, do I stop now that I'm halfway through? 10 o'clock, probably. All Alrighty. Alrighty. Where have we? We've been going, yeah, this is, we're 2 hours in. We're 2 hours into this, and I am most assuredly, I should probably stop at some point. Okay, so that's just making the fretboard look the same across the board. Now, let me see. Yeah. You know what, unlike all of the other ones, I'm actually going to mask this off straight away. I think I can get close enough. Yeah, I can get close enough. Just for this bit, at least. There we go. Okay, so that's done. Jules says, at Crimson Guitars, some of the new stuff is so bad quality, the new tools from China, with regards to his last question. I'm happy to spend money on old tools if I have to pay customs. Good old honest tools from you, Bun. This is the thing, it's a crapshoot with modern tools. You know, I can't actually think of a modern egg beater style drill that is worth owning. I just can't. They just aren't made. Unless I'm wrong, prove me wrong, please, because that would be really cool. Okay. Goth Rider Creations says, Ben just got a hold of some gilding foil. Is there any regular glues that will work with it? I don't want to have to add size to my adhesive collection. I have used proper oil size predominantly as my general go-to for gold leaf. If you've got gold foil, is that the heat applied stuff? If it's gold leaf, then I have been sold size that smelt very much like PVA glue, just watered down PVA glue, so that might work, but I've never tried it, so please Google around and see what other people use. Oh, and Lisa Harshberger's just come in with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Lisa. Lisa says, thanks for this lesson. I got a cheap kit and need to learn how to work on frets. Please excuse me. Crikey. I've got a cheap kit and need to learn how to work on frets. Also set up and clean up the frets on the micro base my niece got for Christmas. You have fostered a great community. I am merely the facilitator, but I absolutely love what we've got going on here. It's incredible. So yeah, thank you for being part of it. Yeah, and frets and fretwork, it's one of those things. It's I'm here 200 or 300 guitars into my career. I've sort of lost count now, and I'm still getting better at it. So, and finally loving the process. No, not quite. Paul Needs said he picked up a vintage Stanley egg beater drill the other day. Quick lube and it was good to go. Where am I? Sandpaper. Goth Rider Creation says, thanks Ben, it's purple leaf rather than gold going into my body cavity to help bounce the LED light out of the sound hole. That sounds awesome. Yeah, a PVA may well work. But you won't regret getting a proper oil-based size. It gives you generally an hour and a half or so of open time to play, and it really does make things... Paul, you are hot on the game. Well done. Deleting the stupid bots, spam bots. Yeah. So seriously, I'm doing this whole live stream. There's a whole video on how I use fret end finishing files to do this job, and I don't actually have any in stock in my own shop. Damn it. This is embarrassing. I don't know. This was a question on the thing. I don't know. Come on. Autocorrect's very annoying. Okay. There we go. I've just asked if Ricky is still around. I'm just putting the that bot in timeout. I wonder if you can do it. Yeah, I'm demoing the tool that we're sold out of. Typical. Big Units come in and says, my mum has my grandma's antique egg beater. It doesn't drill holes though. It could be modified, I'm sure. Lisa's also looking for Iwasaki's. we got to the point where everything that we do was in stock, or something that we made in-house and could readily put back in stock. And then COVID happened, and there are some tools that we buy in. You know, we're not a factory that can make files, so we buy files in and then modify them, etc. And then COVID happened, and the entire world went crazy, and we just don't seem to be able to keep stock of every single thing in at any one point, and it's embarrassing and tremendously annoying. Tremendously annoying. But yeah, we're dealing with it on all fronts. That's a cool shot. Or not. Stop trying to be arty, Ben. Bulgarian Evolution says, "You all need to stop. Now I want scrambled eggs and bacon with my coffee after all this egg beater talk." Orson had a friend stay over the other day, and the friend brought quail eggs from his pet quails. Just for shits and giggles. But yeah, my immediate goal is to get everything in stock as fast as humanly possible, and it's just one of those things. Okay. Just polish the wooden part of the fretboard. Daniel Coyle says, "Our duck eggs recently hatched. In about 6 months we'll be getting eggs from them along with the chickens we already get daily." That's awesome. That's really cool. I miss my chickens. Thanks for reminding me. Spaghetti noodle doodle doo will forever live on in my heart. Okay, so we've gone over the 12th fret inlay, and can crack on without risk of damaging that. But yeah, I'm starting now to run out of energy. Jules is asking if I've got a number 7 and a number 4 in stock. I want to buy one. I do have a number 4. I don't think I have a number 7. I've got a number 6. I've got a beautiful Marples number 6 with a slight chip out of the back trailing edge here. That's going to be listed soon, but I don't think we have any number 7s good to go. They come in and they go out straight away. But with regards to the vintage tool shop, we are finally moving forward. I have got 8,000 or 10,000 tools in boxes waiting to be restored and then put up for sale. Just sitting there. Jules has already got a number 6 from us. Perfect. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be restored, and we're finally, in about 2 weeks, we're going to start working through that. So that's all good. There's going to be a lot of very interesting stuff coming up on vintagetoolshop.com. I am going to be taking the vintage tools off the main Crimson Guitars website. It's just mucking up the search algorithm. Yeah, it's not ideal for search, unfortunately. Morgonian Evolution says, my best friend growing up had a really mean goose in his backyard. Used to leave eggs everywhere, but was the best watchdog ever. The only time I've ever been properly, I want to kill this animal in my life was a goose when I was about 7 or so. And, this is my goose in my yard. And this goose tried to attack me. So I'd been told to chase it away and prove to it that I was a bigger goose than he was. And I ran at this goose. And the goose ran at me, grabbed me by my naughty bits, and ended up sort of with his head between my legs. And I ended up clamping the goose between my legs, grabbing it by the neck, and chucking it by its neck in just... We didn't have geese for very long after that. See, my mother did care. Anyway, bit much. Graham B says, so I guess Ben is feeling a lot better. Not really, but I do need to get this job done by Wednesday next week. So, yeah, I figured, screw it. Let's do a live stream. Or 2. E&M says the mental image is so wrong. Bloody felt wrong as well. Damn scary bloody goose of hellfire. Giant eggs though. I honestly don't actually remember much from, or many specific memories from my childhood. I know people who can basically recall pretty much every single day of their existence. That is not me. That I remember. Ooh, audio? No, the audio's still going. Test 1. Lisa says it's like the advice to stand your ground when a gorilla charges you. Yeah, not going to try that. No, that wasn't Lisa, that was Paul Cook. Sorry, Paul. You're now an honorary Lisa. What are you guys all doing? Because it's the same. We've got 140 odd people watching this. I'm just, yeah, are you at work now? Chilling out after work? Who was that? Godey the Roadie. Hey, man. You're not too far from me. YouTube member says, a friend of mine has a goose called Maverick. That is simple and pure genius. I love it. Yeah, actually, I am going to call this a day. At some point, when the work starts getting sloppy, just because you're tired, it's time to stop. So yeah, it is 20 past 10 in the UK. I've been working all day and I'm starting to feel like I'm getting a little bit sloppy. So I'm going to finish this fret up, answer a few questions if there are any more, and be done. Yeah, look, I forgot to do the sides of this fret before the roundover. Yeah, I'm not... should not be in a workshop at this point. Alright, the real wonky dog says home waiting to see ABBA Saturday. Ooh, I've heard about that show. Sweet Tea Guitar says, do you like Coca-Cola? Very, very much. Very, very much. It was it Lee Nielsen that used to use Coca-Cola for their handles, but then had to stop and went to the much more boring Cherry? I think that's right. Goth Rider Creation says, I'm gluing up the last few bits of my neck through section and drinking adult apple and blackcurrant juice. I had child blackcurrant juice for lunch today, if that makes any difference. Sandpaper. Tim Ziegler says, I'm putting royal lac over crimson oil for the rock hard gloss. Ooh. That sounds fun. Alan Wood's working at home until the notification showed up. Going back to it soon. I am so sorry. That was what I was after. I was after that guilty feeling that you just saw. Yeah. I'm just hanging out waiting for the utility company to turn the power back on. That's Black Wraith. Oh my god, he's a YouTube member. Yeah, I think about getting a generator every now and then sort of forget until the next power cut. And I was like, I really should get a generator. But anyway. Lisa says, I'm all honesty, I'm just watching the Johnny Depp trial and now unwinding with this stream before going to bed. Do you know what? I have never been a fan of Johnny Depp. It comes down to the fact that I've never had a good experience with drunk people. I don't like getting drunk myself. I just feel ill. And having to deal with drunk people when you're a sober person just sucks. Everybody knows this. And most of the time he's acting drunk in his movies, basically, or high or whatever. So I've never been a fan of his. But I have actually caught parts of the trial and this whole process and all this bullshit. And frankly, I've become a fan of his through the process. I found myself watching him playing guitar the other day, and he's actually not half bad. He was a guitarist before he was an actor. The whole thing's really strange and sad and strange and weird. Isn't it amazing the world we currently live in now? But anyway. I just remembered some plans I've got for the channel moving forward. Where is that guitar? Yeah, okay. I've just remembered it's a bank holiday. I was expecting a guitar. I bought a 2016 Les Paul to do despicable things to. And it hasn't actually arrived yet, and tomorrow's a bank holiday, so I'm probably not going to be getting it until, yeah, next week now. Damn it. We'll see. Or maybe Saturday. Saturday's not bank holiday. Yeah, so with this Gibson, I'm going to try an out relic Gibson, and see. Yeah, Hollywood Vampires, that's his band. It's a really cool band. Johnny Depp, sorry, is what we're talking about. One thing I've learned from this process is that I really do enjoy doing individual frets and going through most of the process on each fret rather than doing the process on all frets. I find that I'm a lot less bored with the process. Obviously, I'm also with you guys. But yeah, there we go. The big unit, who is a lecturer in electronics and electrical safety and all that at university, says, I want to put in a Generac generator, but a 20-watt Generac is almost $6,000 now. That doesn't include the transfer switch, concrete pad, wire, breakers, sub-panel, etc. But you wouldn't have to pay somebody else to install it, I suppose. But yeah, it's one of those things. If the world truly does go to shit, generator could be quite useful, albeit probably short-lived, because yeah, we don't want to stockpile stuff. Ricky Miller. Ricky. Hi, Ricky. Says, my snare drum was played at a Hollywood Vampires gig when they supported Alice Cooper. That's really cool. Ricky, you have layers like an onion. And I like randomly quoting Shrek. Sue me. Okay. All right, if we have any questions or queries or comments, this is the time, because I'm going to knock this one on the head. This last fret I've done is nowhere near... No, it's just not good enough. I'm going to redo some bits of this, actually, now. I'm not happy with it. So here we go. Lisa says, yeah, it's a form of escapism, I agree, but the trial and coverage from some lawyers were really interesting, and I mean, the man got his career ruined by what seemed to be all lies. This is the thing, and the really worrying and scary thing is that happens all the time to people on the regular. And it's so easy. I mean, the world is getting better and more transparent. And it's not just, you know, we're going to believe this person because he's a man, or we're going to believe, you know, the kids are automatically going to go to the mother because she's the mother, etc. You know, mothers can be arseholes too. But it is still, the world is difficult. And unfair things happen all the time. Sweetie, Sweetie Guitars has come with a $5 super chat and says, self-imposed fine for leaving early. I've got to go build something. Peace and love, everyone. Cheers, Todd. Have fun. And thank you. You amuse me greatly on a regular basis. And make me very happy. William Dodds says, Ben sent some pics of a hand plane to Vintage Tool Shop for someone to identify. That's from William Dodds, who's a YouTube member. Okay. There's a change of management of the tool shop happening at some points. There's a little bit of stuff. Very sadly, we're losing Safi. When we moved, we knew that it was potentially going to happen, but we did have to move the tool shop. She just can't cope with a 2 hours of driving every day, because she has to pick kids up and all that sort of stuff. So for now, at least, Safi's leaving us. Yeah. Anyway, so Louis is going to be taking over that department, and I think he knows that. I also don't think he watches my live streams, and he'll be answering any questions, and I will ask him when he's back in to dig the email out, and we'll have a look. Lisa says, go on, say it. Say, call it a day. Wednesday. I can't believe I'm live streaming on a Wednesday. And that was a dad joke if I've ever heard one. I like it. I got a thorough groan from my kids the other day. I was like, oh, guys, Do you know what? Parenthood is just a massive chore sometimes. You could even call it a job. And my kids are like Jasmine, Orson, Byron, job. They're my 3 children, and nobody was amused. Nobody was amused. I don't know. Okay, so this fret here, this is Lucky 13, is the last one. The big unit says, Ben, since you asked, I got the Bosch 2-3A modular router with a plunge and fixed bases, 2 different collet sizes, etc. Fantastic. I actually had one of those for quite some time, or at least an earlier version of it. I'm assuming they've upgraded or changed in some way. Yeah, good choice. Good choice. Everybody's sad that Safi's leaving. Yes, Safi did give me crap. I told her actually I was going to phone her every now and then just so that she could berate me over the phone, because she's really good at that. I do think that she'll be back at some point. Jamie Crowe says, before I go to my next meeting, I wanted to say the Crimson finishing oils and fretboard restorative are absolutely amazing. I used them for the first time this weekend. Thank you very much. Wolfer Guitar says, tough crowd. That's the family. Yes, absolutely. Kids are a job, but the payout is better. I agree. Dad humour, not always understood. That's from Bulgarian Evolution. Lisa Harshberger said the price of gas and a 2-hour commute is a good reason to quit a job. We actually sort of covered the cost of the gas and tried to do everything, but in the end, it's the commute, it's the time, and we do need her to be in house, really. Gertie the Roadie says, Wednesday, it's the longest day of the week. 9 letters. Anthony Cunliffe says, is Crimson not one of your babies too? It absolutely is. Ricky Miller, who, this is the second time he said this to me today, says, I'm slightly devastated about Safi leaving. Yeah, your whole job is going to get a lot more difficult, Ricky. By the way, Ricky, do you have any idea when we're going to get Fret N finishing files back in stock? The real wonky dog. Did you automatically get put in a timeout for using the word spam? I hope not. Oh, ha. Paul Cook says, no, wonky, just slipped finger amid the porn bots. Sorry. That's hilarious. Okay. Oh, Ricky says they're being worked on today by Matty, so I can check the status tomorrow. So actually, yeah, Ricky, if you could make those live well, as soon as you get in tomorrow, even if they're going to be back ordered for a few days, that's not an issue, because this video and then next week there's going to be, yeah, we need to do that. It would be silly not to capitalize on, you know, people watching a video doing this. Not that this is the reason. Not that that is the reason I do this. It's just, yeah, a thing. Goth Rider says, Ben, I couldn't see how you attached the earth wire to the cavity of Jasmine's guitar. Can you solder onto shielding paint? Okay, that's a good point. Excuse me. I've never tried soldering onto shielding paint. I drilled a hole, wrapped the wire around a panhead screw, and they just screwed the screw into the hole up against the shielding paint, and that was it. So that worked out. That worked out well. Jeff Williams says, have we solved the stretch or no stretch discussion? Mark was not trolling me. I just didn't understand his argument, and he's not entirely wrong. What he was saying is that when you put the string on initially, at the pivot points on the bridge and the nut, you've got a round over until you play, at which point or until you stretch behind, in his thing, the bridge and the nut. At that point, you put a kink in the string, and that detunes it. He's saying that I'm putting the kink in the string by stretching it, but that there's no actual stretch in the string, which is patently absurd because there is a guaranteed stretch in the string. But he's also taught me something that I did not believe existed or did not know existed, and that is that you've got that slight round over, that you're putting a proper actual bend in rather than it being a gentle curve. So straightening out, making that bend does detune it to a certain extent, but it's only part of the issue. Okay, these bots are getting really annoying. Oh, the user's hidden on the channel as well, so yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, everybody's off to sit on the porch. That's Bulgarian Evolution. Have a good night, everybody. Paul Need says Ricky's working tomorrow. I'm asking the same question. Ricky, why are you working tomorrow? Ricky is kind of like me and Tom and Sam and a bunch of people at Crimson. We just actually, we don't like the silence. So, yeah. I thought everybody was off. Okay, there we go. All right, everybody. Gothrider says, thanks for the stream. Gertie Reddy says, here's a question. What's your opinion on the Gibson Dean counterfeit court case? I believe the Gibson should wind their goddamn necks in. At this point, I think that things made in the 50s should basically be in the public domain, really. A logo is one thing, but I don't personally think that you should be able to trademark a headstock shape or a body design, for example. I just think, you know, those things after a certain point just become public. So yeah, unless Gibson are watching, in which case please don't sue me. Graham B says, okay, 9:30 a.m. here, so onwards and upwards, sending love and positive vibes to all from New Zealand. Catch you later. Have a great day, Graham. I am going to bed. Tim Ziegler says, Royal Lac uses alcohol solvent like normal shellac with a polymer catalyst. Very forgiving. Wipe on, spray on, or French polish without the nasty auto finish. I want to try that out. And you can put it over the guitar finishing oil, which gives you that beautiful sort of oily look, which is great. The chatoyance and the deep browny, yellowy, goldy stuff. HS Guitar says, did I skillfully join at the end of the stream again? That you did, the very, very end. Thank you for joining in any case. Good night, good night, good night. Live long and prosper from Daniel Marquez. Alan Wood says night all. All right, everybody, look, this has been really good. I did a whole, like, maybe 10 frets, but it's 10 frets more than I had done before, and we had a chat. Some of us learned something, including me, and we're all good. So, yeah, thank you very much for your support and for everything. I'll be back soon. Have a good evening.